Hello, pembelajar online, whom I love wherever you are. So today, would like to talk and discuss about business policy. But before that, please subscribe, like, share, and also comment my YouTube channels. My name is Dadang Prasetyo Miko. I'm a PhD graduate from Cardiff Metropolitan University in the UK, and I'm also an expert in financial area. Please stay tuned. We'll right back after this moment. Ladies and gentlemen, today we'll start with introduction to business policy. The description of the evolution of business policy as a discipline by which you will gain an insight into the development process that has preceded before learners like you have got the opportunity to study this course. Next, we will introduce you to the nature of business policy and then tell you about its importance in order to explain how this of business policy and its objective in terms of knowledge, skill, and attitudes are discussed. At the end, to tell you in clear terms what you may expect from the course. First, evolution of business policy as discipline. Business policy is relatively a recent addition to the list of subjects included in a typical management studies curriculum. Almost all the management courses offered by universities and management institutes in over the world include business policy, normally in the latter part of the degree or diploma program. The genesis of business policy. The origin of business policy can be traced back to 1911 when Harvard Business School introduced an integrative course in management aimed at the creation of general management capability. This course was based on case study which had been in use at school for instructional purposes since 1908. However, the real impetus for introducing business policy in the curriculum of business school or as management institutes or development are known in the US came with publication of two reports in 1959. The Gordon and Howell reports, sponsored by Ford Foundation, recommended a capstone course of business policy which will give students an opportunity to pull together what they have learned in the separate business fields and utilize this knowledge in the analysis of complex business problems. The Person Report, sponsored by the Carnegie Foundation and published simultaneously, made a similar recommendation. In 1969, the American Assembly of Collegiate School of Business, a regulatory body for social schools, made the course of business policy a mandatory requirement for the purpose of recognition. During the last 2 decades, business policy has become an integral part of management curriculum from the US. The practice of business policy in the management curriculum spread to other parts of the world. The contents of the course, teaching, technology, and etc., vary from institution to institution. But basically, business policy is considered as a capstone integrative course offered to students who have previously been through a set of core functional area course. The term business policy has been traditionally used through new titles of the course have begun to the introduction of recent years. The discussion so far related to the academic status of business policy course. In practice, however, the development has been on different lines, and then evolution based on management practices. The view of development in business policy as arising from the use of planning technique by managers. Starting from day-to-day planning in earlier times, managers try to anticipate the future through preparation of budgets and using control systems like capital budgeting and management by objective, with the inability of this technique to adequately emphasize the role of future long-range planning come to be used, and soon long-range planning was replaced by strategic planning and later by strategic management. A term this is currently used to describe the process of strategic decision making system. The strategic management is the theoretical framework for business place policies course today. Then we talk about historical perspective of evolution for the business policy. Hover and others view the evolution of business policy in terms of four paradigm shift for the sake of convenience. This shift may consider as four overlapping phases in the development of the objective of business policy. It is interesting to note that the development of business policy as a field to study closely followed by the demand of real-life business. According to Hoover and others referred to above, the first phase, which can be traced back to the mid of 1930s, rested on the paradigm of ad hoc policymaking. The need for policymaking arose due to the nature of American business firms in the period. The firms which commenced operation in a single product line, catering to a unique set of customers in a limited geographical area, expanded in one or all of these three dimensions. The informal control and coordination becomes partially irrelevant as expansion took place and needs arose to integrate the function area. The integration was brought about by framing functional policy to guide managerial action. Policymaking became the prime responsibility of each while entrepreneurs who later assumed the role of senior management. Due to the increasing environmental change in 1930s and 40s, in the US, planned policy formula replaced ad hoc policymaking. Based on this second paradigm, the emphasis shifted to the integration of functional area in a rapidly changing environment. Increasingly, complexity and accelerating change in the environmental made the planned policy paradigm irrelevant since the need of business could no longer be served by policymaking and functional area integration only. But in the 1960s, there was a demand for a critical role look at the basic concept of business and its relationship to the environment. The concept of strategic satisfied this requirement, and the third phase, based on strategic paradigm, emerged in the earlier 60s. The current thinking that emerged in the 80s is based on the fourth paradigm of strategic management. This focuses on the intersection of two broad fields of inquiry, the strategic process of business firm and the responsibility of the general management. The story is from being completed and as Thompson and Strickland essays. The approach and method of analysis of strategic management have not yet coalesced into a theory of how to manage an enterprise, but they were they are very definitely do represent a powerful way of thinking to resolve strategic issues. The direction in which strategic management is moving can be anticipated from what Ansoff called an emerging comprehensive approach of management of discontinuous change, which takes account of physiology, sociological, political, and systematic characteristics of complex organization. So that's all thing that I can summarize and send to you today. I hope this will be beneficiary for all of you. Thank you very much and we will meet again soonest. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.